Back at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, the Los Angeles Rams lead the Houston Oilers 13-3. We're at halftime. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt along with Hank Stram. And Hank, when you look back on this first half, the number one thing that jumps out in my mind is not only the opportunistic defense of the Rams, but all the mistakes that Houston made.
Yes, and I think, you know, I hate to belabor the point, but I think any time that you have that many options with a young football team, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And I think the other thing that's very obvious, too, is the fact that you really, now there you see what happened in the first half with regard to the turnovers and the mistakes that were made. But I think the other thing that's important is the fact that the Rams have not thrown the ball nearly as well as I thought they would, especially against man-for-man coverage.
Well, that's right. Everett is 5 of 11 for 63 yards, but he has not had any interceptions. While Warren Moon continues to struggle, he is only 12 of 28, 153 yards, but he has 2 interceptions, Hank.
And I think they're going to have a lot more interceptions.
I'm still not sure that Kevin Green got this ball in the air.
That was amazing. As you watch the replay, he tipped it, bounced up in the air, recovered it, took off down the sideline and put the ball away from pressure and went all the way in for the touchdown. Kevin Green, who has had a great first half.
So the setting is different. The year changes, but Warren Moon still has a lot of problems throwing more interceptions than he does touchdowns. And look at this. He's been under some pressure.
Yeah, he really has been under a lot of pressure. And I think talking to Tommy Bettis, who works for the defensive backs, going into the game, he said the thing that worries me a little bit about the fact that we really haven't executed well from a passing standpoint. And today it's very obvious they're still not doing that.
All right, Hank, as we look forward to the second half now, what do you tell the Oilers at halftime? What do they have to do?
I think anytime that you play as poorly as they did in a lot of respects in the first half, I think you have to kill them with kindness. You try to make them realize that they're much better than they actually played. They have the potential to do a much better job, and that's the way they have to talk to them at halftime. I think they're too young to get on them too much in this first football game.
How about the Rams?
Well, the Rams have to continue to do what they're doing very well. I think in the final analysis, Johnny Robinson is all smiles because the running game is working extremely well, and he's happy with that. I think they got to feel a little bit more confidence about the passing game in the second half and take advantage of the one-on-one coverage more than they did in the first half.
I'd smile, too, if I had an Eric Dickerson. So we're just about ready to start the second half, and Houston has had the advantage in time of possession. CBS Sports will continue after this message and a word from your local stations.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered draft beer. It's as real as it gets. McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by Toyota, builder of tough, powerful, reliable trucks. Toyota.
Optimism and uncertainty, the buzzwords here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The Los Angeles Rams lead the Oilers at halftime 13-3. And as Jerry Glanville, the head coach of the Oilers, says, we're Texas tough and Houston proud. Look at the play selection, Hank.
Well, the amazing thing about that is that Glanville said yesterday, we talked about the balance, and he said, well, I tell you one thing we do during the course of the game, we keep track of how many runs, and we always want to stay one run ahead of the team that we're playing against. They must have forgot to count in this game because they're way behind from a rush standpoint.
Well, they need 2 more rushes. Obviously, they've had a lot more plays. Yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, they've had the ball a lot more. They've had it 17 minutes in that first half, 5 more minutes than the Rams did. The Rams, obviously, it looked like they achieved what they went out to achieve.
Yes, I think so. But as I mentioned to you, I think any time that you play against man-for-man coverage, I think the hope and expectation that you're going to get a chance to throw more big plays and get more big plays. They haven't done that yet. They made some good plays, but they haven't gone up on top as much as I thought they might with man-for-man coverage and bump and run.
I'll tell you what, though, that's heavily in favor, play-wise and time of possession-wise, for the Houston Oilers, and they do have that capability of hitting that big play. All the attention now here in Houston will focus on that man, Warren Moon. 2 interceptions in the first half. You know, in the 32 losses since he's been here as an Oiler, he's thrown twice as many interceptions as touchdowns. While in the 12 wins, he had a much more respectable 18 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions.
You know, but in spite of that, everybody seems to have great confidence in Warren Moon, don't they?
This is Charlie White. And Charlie White bangs his way out to the 25-yard line. Alan Lyday made the tackle.
Here we see Lyday coming up in a tackling position. There he is. And helps make the tackle with a lot of other people.
What makes those guys,
gets them down.
Excuse me, Hank. What makes those guys special is they come down in their lanes. They aren't supposed to leave their lanes on special teams. He got down nicely, broke down, skated over, and made the tackle.
That's the important thing, to get in a good hitting position, and they bent those knees and got a good cushion. But then good hitting position.
All right, 1st and 10 on the 25. Just underway in the second half. This is Dickerson. Boy, good pursuit that time by the Oilers.
And they're still playing with 2 tight ends. David Hill on the line of scrimmage, and Damone Johnson, number 86, playing on the wing and going from side to side, going in motion with 2 tight ends.
Eric Dickerson, 95 yards now. Al Smith is the rookie that came up to make that tackle. I think it's interesting that the Oilers, out of their 14 draft choices, kept all of them.
Talking to Tommy Bettis, who works with their defensive backs and I think one of the outstanding defensive people in the league. He's very high in this young defensive team, and he thinks they have some great talent in their secondary.
2nd and 8 from the 27. Look at it. Everett has a man. And it's complete to Henry Ellard. 1st down, L.A.
Patrick Allen, number 29, really gave him a lot of room that time, was way off of him, and as a result, you can see why he was able to run to the outside. He goes back into the pocket, but look at the outside. If we can see the defensive back, there he is. He's coming up to make the play, but he was backpedaling way back. It was about 6 or 7 yards off the receiver, Henry Ellard, and for that reason, they were able to throw in front of Allen, number 29.
Not bad coverage by Patrick Allen. 6 for 12 now is Everett.
Now here they got a chance to go up on top with one-on-one. Let's see if they do. Now they change the cover.
Overthrown badly.
See, there again, I think it's a new concept, and I think even the Rams, we talked about the young Oilers, but I think anytime that you put something new in, why, you're not going to do it overnight, and I think they're having a little problem with their timing and execution, too, as far as the passing game is concerned.
Look at New Orleans leading Cleveland 14-7. 3rd quarter. Boomer Esiason leading Cincinnati over Indianapolis. We saw the Colts last week, and they're much improved.
Look at Tampa over Atlanta, 27-3.
I like Ray Perkins as a coach. 2nd and 10, and Everett is decked, or Dickerson rather. Ray Childress again, big number 79.
But they were blitzing everybody on the play. Look at that middle. Look at the linebackers coming in there. There's no way in the world you can get anything inside unless somebody has a heart attack on defense. Look at that. Childress, number 75, 79, gets the penetration. But there's no chance whatsoever. And again, anytime that you get penetration, you're going to have a hard time running a football in there unless you run a trap and clean it out perfectly.
He's active, Childress. Shoots that gap, turns those shoulders, and finds it clear alley. 3rd and 11. Everett under pressure again, throws deep and incomplete, intended for Ron Brown, but again the coverage was solid.
There we go, and they got a good push from the defensive line that time, and as a result, he threw the ball before he actually wanted to. And I'll tell you another thing, Steve Brown has got 4.4 speed. Allen's got 4.3 speed, they tell me, 4.35. You talk about lightning, and the safeties have 4.55 speed, so it's hard to do business on them unless you get plenty of time to throw.
Rams are now 1 for 8 on 3rd down conversions. Hatcher gets a low punt away. This is Curtis Duncan. Tries to give ground to pick up a wall. He almost got there. There's a flag. Larry Kelm grabbed him and took him down. He was the last ditch before they got to the blocking wall. Jerry Glanville's got to be thinking, if that's against Houston, Not again.
On the run back. On the run back. Number 33. Illegal block above the waist. 10 yards. First down.
That's Spencer Tillman, another rookie out of Oklahoma. So the Oilers hurt themselves again with 12:56 remaining in the third quarter, still trailing by 10. The concern on the face of Jerry Glanville, the head coach of the Houston Oilers. His Oilers now have 7 penalties for 55 yards.
You know, and I don't know how he does it. I really don't. Look at this. Last year, the Houston Oilers penalized 1,018, most in the National Football League, and looked like they're off to try to get that same title again this year, the way they're going.
What is that, youth?
You know, people wonder why it happens. I think it's a part of discipline, a lack of discipline, and I think probably, I don't know what the practice habits are. It's hard to work on specialty teams like the picture you get in games, but somehow, some way, you got to make them realize the importance of not making mistakes on the specialty teams, because you got 32 shots, and you can win or lose a game. I always thought that you'd win or lose 5 to 7 games on the kicking game, and they've lost their share.
Yeah, but he's got to get these guys and set them down now and say, hey, look, boys, you're at the party. It's time to dance. They got to stop making those things. Bring in 4 wide receivers now. It'll be 2nd and 7. Rozier picked up 3. Hill in motion. Moon gives to Rozier, and Rozier gets another tough 2. Big Doug Reed filled the hole.
Mike Munchak, their left guard, is really a terrific football player. And people think probably he's as good as anybody in the league at that position. He played his collegiate football at Penn State, 6'5", 280. And they say he's a very, very steady football player. He's not a yo-yo guy. He's steady and plays consistently well all the time, number 63.
Rams bring in 6 defensive backs, 3rd and 5 from the 17. Moon has Hill and overthrows him. Hill had worked himself into the seam and had Jerry Gray beaten.
But you wonder why he threw the ball poorly. The fans are booing Moon, but that time Jeter, number 77, and Wilshire, number 54, got in there, got penetration. He didn't have a chance to follow through and throw the ball properly. That's why it was incomplete.
Lee Johnson comes on to punt it away. He's got a strong leg. Keep in mind, he hasn't had a punt blocked in his pro career, but it's close that time, and this is a doozy. Oh, my. Drives Henry Ellard all the way back to the 25. And Ellard returns it to the 37. A 55-yard punt, and the Rams will have good field position when we come back. Things have quieted down here at the Astrodome again, and you get the feeling, and I think all these people here at the Astrodome get the feeling that something big is about to happen. There's been a lull in the action. The Rams still lead 13-3. We've got 11:16 remaining in the third period of play. 3 turnovers for Houston. Mike Langsford had the 2 field goals to get things started. Then Dickerson set up the big touchdown. Or Dickerson set up the field goals, rather, and Green had the interception for a touchdown. This is Everett. Ron Brown drops the pass, and he was really tagged. Allen is slow to get up, and Brown is slow to get up. They had a tremendous collision at the 47-yard line.
And talking about Steve Brown, you know, his sister has a big role on Miami Vice. Let's take a look at it. So they fake that counter play. He's got plenty of room, borrows some time, throws the ball over here perfectly on the run, but it went right through his hands. He just missed the ball. That's all that happened. Ron Brown, number 89, just went right through there. Ball was thrown perfectly.
Allen is up, and he appears to be okay, just shaken up a little bit. Check some of the baseball scores that are coming in for baseball fans. In the American League, look at that. Toronto still leads by a game, and they lead the Yankees right now 3-2 in the 4th. Toronto leading that Eastern Division. And in the National League, Montreal hanging tough, beating Chicago 1-0. No score. San Francisco, Cincinnati, and that's a pretty good race. San Francisco leads by 5 games over the Reds now.
see a picture of Ron Brown, number 89. He's a little hurting on the play. Nothing serious, I hope. I don't think so.
2nd and 10, misses Dickerson. And Houston's been running to the football well all day.
You know, the way the Rams play from a formation standpoint, they play with 2 official tackles, but they got 2 more tackles and 2 in the persons of tight ends. So they're playing really with 4 tackles, and then they got another guard in the backfield. So they're playing with 4 tackles and 3 guards, with Guman, the blocking back, like a guard in the backfield in front of Dickerson, blocking from him from the variety of formations, from the I formation and the cockeye I.
3rd and 5 from the 38. Michael Young and Henry Ellard both in the ball game now. Ellard in motion. Pressure on Everett. This is Ellard. Across midfield to the 45-yard line.
They got Bostic in a revolving door that time. He went in motion, stopped, went back in motion. Bostic was trailing him man for man, and he got caught in a kind of a pick action on the outside, broke to the outside, and was wide open.
17-yard pickup. It'll be 1st and 10. The ball on the 45. Two tight ends, David Hill, Damone Johnson.
Look at all the room on the left side.
Dickerson picks up 5. Hank, it looks like he picks up 5 just by leaning forward.
That's the great thing about him. You know, he's got great lean, and you know what he is? He's a great finishing runner. He'll go into a pile and come out the other end, and that's what's really so great about him.
Dickerson now over 100 yards. He also, Hank, went over the 7,000-yard rushing mark today for his career. He just needed 32. He now has 101. We mentioned he was born and raised just 40 miles west of here in Sealy, Texas. And he's got a lot of his family and friends here. 2nd and 5 from the 40. 1st down, Rams.
There's that counter play again with Pankey and Newberry pulling to the right, but he doesn't wait for that to formulate. He takes advantage of the running room on the inside and cuts back into the area where the left tackle and the right tackle pull. Look at this.
Hey, watch 31 here in blue. That's Donaldson. Almost ran himself out of the play, and the safety had to come up and jam it.
Yes, but again, he took advantage of the flow, the people chasing the guard and tackle, talking about Pankey and Newberry, and he cut behind it. That's why he's such a great runner.
Another Ram 1st down on the 33. Should be a flag. There isn't. Incidental contact.
Yeah, I think they got their feet tangled up on a play, but as you mentioned, incidental contact. That's exactly what happened.
That was Kevin House was the intended receiver, and he's working on Keith Bostic, 25.
Watch House coming off the ball. He breaks to the outside. Now watch it. Kind of a rounded cut. And see if their feet don't get tangled up here. Yeah, there it is. He gets a little tip and falls to the turf. Bostic, number 25, covering on the play.
Rams have had the ball 3 minutes and 2 seconds thus far on this drive.
But the important thing, you got to take advantage of the situation, and you must get points.
2nd and 10, Guman in motion. Everett under pressure. And Ellard makes the catch. It wasn't easy. He was working on Steve Brown. The ball bounced off his hands, and he brought it back in.
Those defensive backs, the corners are turning and running. Now watch Brown. Watch. No bump and run. He tries to get a piece of him with the inside arm, and he turns to the inside when the receiver turns outside. The ball hits the shoulder pads, bounces up into the air, but he gets him turned. He gets Brown turned, and for that reason, he makes the reception. Henry Ellard, number 80.
Henry makes him exciting, doesn't he?
He sure does. Follow the bouncing ball. Mitch Miller would have liked that one.
From the 20 now, this is Dickerson. And Dickerson is nailed. Steve Brown and Al Smith, and the rookie Al Smith is playing a marvelous football game.
He really is. As I mentioned, he's got 4.6 speed. You ought to see the arms on him. It looked like there are a couple of legs hanging out of that jersey.
He does have some arms.
I kidded him yesterday. So you got to pump up your arms a little bit.
We mentioned that Eric Dickerson lives just 40 miles west of here. He took the guys home last night for a barbecue. Went to SMU. Has not played here at the Astrodome since he was a junior at SMU. The big game against the Rams the last time they met. 215 yards on the record. Oh, it was almost intercepted. There is a flag. Jeff Donaldson again, the safety.
He got a good jump on that ball. Jeff Donaldson, number 31, the safety man. Here you see Fuller coming into the inside. He gets caught inside. There's the throw. And there's Donaldson coming in and getting a piece of the ball and knocking it down.
It's a good replay. You could see the eyes of Everett.
Offense, number 78, illegal motion, 5 yards.
It's against Jackie Slater, but I was going to say you could see Everett never did look off Henry Ellert. Right from the snap, he had his eyes on him, and Donaldson, the safety, just read him all the way.
You're right. That's exactly what happens, and that's what happens. You know, Everett is going to be an excellent quarterback, but it takes a lot of time to develop that technique to look off receivers and look one way and throw another, and he'll get that. And especially, it'll take more time because he hasn't been involved in this much of a passing game before now.
Second down and a taxi ride. They need 19 yards for the first. Again, there's pressure from the inside. And there's our guy, the rookie Al Smith. He's playing a whale of a football game.
Waited too long to throw the ball. He was looking downfield to get it downfield, and by the time he came back to Kevin House.
I tell you, that's a kid that knows the difference between come here and sick 'em.
Oh, yes, that's right. It's Al Smith, number 54. There you see him getting a piece of the ball, evidently, and knocking it loose on Kevin House.
That'll bring up third down and 19 yards for the first. The ball just inside the 30.
We might see a run here. We might see a trap. We might see a run of some kind. They like to do this. Maybe they'll get a big play, and maybe they won't take the chance of getting an interception and get closer for the field. No, they're going to throw it.
David Hill, the tight end, was in the backfield that time. Everett unloads it and throws it out of bounds.
In the past, I guarantee you that would have been a running play of some kind with Johnny Robinson calling the plays. But that time they try to throw it up on top, and it falls incomplete.
Everett was decked, and he's feeling every bit of it. Lyles and Childress were the guys that came in and put him on his back. Mike Lansford is coming on to try a 47-yard field goal. He has not missed in preseason. He's 2 for 2 here. It's long enough. And it's good. So Mike Lansford adds his 9th point of the ball game, and the Rams lead 16-3. Rams have taken control here midway through the third period. Actually, 6:32 remaining in the third quarter. 16-3. 11 plays, 35 yards. And you got the impression, Hank, that maybe the Rams should have gotten more out of it than just that 47-yard field goal.
Yeah, I thought they would, but here again, the important thing, they get 3, and that's vitally important.
Mike Lansford will tee it up, and deep for Houston will be Curtis Duncan. Lansford's an interesting story. He went to the Jets out of college, got cut, went to a couple of camps, couldn't figure out the problem, got a blister on his foot, finally took his shoe off, started kicking that way, and he's never put it back on. He's been a super kicker. And Duncan will not run it out. You know, Hank, I thought it was interesting yesterday talking with John Robinson, and here's a guy that's been to the playoffs 4 straight years, and he said, we aren't there yet. We're not at that championship level. He says, I think Everett's the guy to take us there. You think they've reached it?
I think that's why Johnny Robinson is an excellent coach, because he knows what the shortcomings has been, and he's trying to do everything he possibly can to overcome those shortcomings. I don't think there's any question about the fact that Everett will be the guy that will add another dimension to their football team, but it's going to be it'll take some time, and he'll get better and better and better as he progresses during the course of the season. Yes, I think they'll get better and get to that next echelon with every quarterback.
Hank, I think every time he goes out, he's going to learn more lessons. It's like going to school, and we just saw him get decked by Childress down there, and he came off the sidelines, and I've got to think that just kind of awakens a new sinew in him. I mean, he's learning something every snap.
Well, I don't think there's any question about that. Plus the fact you have to realize that he missed training camp altogether last year. This is his first pro training camp, and he's got a lot of work to get done. But he's got the physical attributes that you're seeking, and there's no question about the fact that he ought to be a good one.
Another interesting story is here we are in 1987, and it's Everett who is leading the Rams right now, 16-3 over the Oilers. Everett was the Oilers' #1 pick. They couldn't sign him. They told him he wouldn't play here until 1990.
But
so
they told him
3 years early, Hank.
Yeah, but they didn't tell him that until after he decided to go with the Rams.
Well, it was offsides, so they'll re-kick it. Lansford will get another chance, and it'll be Duncan again deep for Houston. Ron Brown, who was hit by Allen moments ago and was injured, we're now told has a hip pointer, and he will not return. Lansford gets a sidewinder. Takes Duncan back into the end zone, and again. Well, he didn't cross the line. I was going to say again, he won't bring it out, and he fooled me.
Well, he came close.
He thought about it.
He put the brakes on. He put the brakes on just in time, and I think a teammate gave him the signal and told him to hang in there, stay in the end zone. Here you see it. Drops the ball. Now he should have just been satisfied to down it because he gets it out to 20. See his...
He's walking on the edge.
You talk about walking a tightrope. He was doing it, wasn't he?
Well, nonetheless, the ball's on the 20. We've got 6:15 remaining third quarter. Rams lead by 10. Oilers need some offense. Moon with time. Has a receiver. It's Hill. And Hill has it out to the 34-yard line. First down, Houston. Leroy Irvin and Johnny Johnson were the defenders.
One thing about this Houston team, you know, as many mistakes as they've made, they're still only 2 plays away from getting back in this contest. You know that, Tim? 2 plays.
Absolutely. Did you see Indianapolis leading 14-13?
Kansas City, San Diego, 13-3.
5:35 remaining, third period. First down. Moon wants a pretty big chunk and goes after it again. He's close to another first down. There is a flag. It's complete to Givens, and there may be pass interference as well on Jerry Gray.
Here we see Givens coming off the line of scrimmage. Gray goes back, turns to the inside. Givens comes back for the ball just enough. Had he not come back for the ball, he wouldn't have made the catch.
And
But
we were right. It was pass interference on Gray.
there's no question about it. He had the left hook. Had the left hand on his back.
You taught that, didn't you?
But make sure you don't let the officials see that.
That's right.
Here we see Ron Brown on the sideline, kind of dejected.
That's a painful injury, too, a hip pointer. His mindset right now is already on next week. He doesn't want that to keep him out next week. First and 10, again to throw. It's behind the receiver. He was intended for Jamie Williams, the tight end.
Rozier got a good block that time on a linebacker. Good block.
And next Sunday on CBS Sports, we'll present an NFL doubleheader in most areas. It all begins with the NFL Today at 11:30 Central, 9:30 Pacific. Those of you in New Orleans will see the Saints against the Eagles, while those in Los Angeles will see San Francisco against the Bengals. Then in Game 2 of the doubleheader, you'll see either Dallas at the defending Super Bowl champion Giants or these Rams hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. The NFL on CBS continues its second week with a big doubleheader next Sunday. Second and 10, the reverse. They drop it. And I think they got it back.
You talk about the perfect call. Number 54, Wilshire, was blitzing on the play, coming down shallow. Had they been able to make that exchange, it'd have been all over. He'd have gone all the way for the touchdown. There wasn't anybody there at all.
Hank, I don't know how he dropped it. Watch this. That's just not paying attention, not concentrating.
Watch this now. Rozier gives him the ball. He gave it to him a little bit too low. It was below the waistline. That's why he fumbled. It looked like he might have kicked it loose with his thigh, and it came out of there and almost were recovered. Here we'll see it again. Look at Wilshire going down the line of scrimmage. There's nobody there had the reverse been able to have been executed. Look at that.
You're right. Rozier looks like he lost the handle before he could get it to Givens.
That's right. And he gave it to him low.
Well, they had a pretty good drive going, but now it'll be 3rd and 16 from the 39. Moon with plenty of time, and Jeffries can't hold on, and he was open. Haywood Jeffries, the rookie out of NC State.
You can't throw him any better than that. He hit him right in the shoulder pad. He hit the shoulder pad and bounced off. Yeah, look at this. He's going into second base here now. Look at he's making the read inside. He's right in the second base area. No, I don't think. I thought at first maybe he got tangled up a little bit with his feet on that turf, but he didn't. He just dropped the ball.
Johnson kicks it away. Not a particularly long kick. Ellard has it on the 25 and won't get much more. Ten-point lead, 4:10 remaining, third period. Well, this is the granddaddy of them all, the Astrodome. It was the first dome. They called it originally the eighth wonder of the world. They're about to lose a tenant, I believe. Bud Adams may take his club to Jacksonville. Right now, the Oilers trail the Rams 16-3 in the third period. Oilers have hurt themselves badly. And look at that. The Rams have capitalized, Hank.
And that music we hear in the background is traveling music in case they go to Jacksonville.
Dickerson tap dances into the line and picks up about 2. You know, I think it's interesting that there is a controversy going on right here now in Houston, and Bud Adams, the owner of the Oilers, says he will take this club to Jacksonville unless there are some concessions made here at the Astrodome. But the folks in Jacksonville are hungry for a team. They traded the Bulls, or treated the Bulls very nicely in the USFL, and they would really do almost anything to get a club there.
And I think it's a great area for a franchise, plus the fact that I think Phoenix is also in the picture. And so there's some competition for this franchise, and I think Bud Adams, if the amount of money is correct, $115 million guaranteed to move to Jacksonville, he's got to consider it strongly.
Right now, let's go to New York. Here's Brent Musburger with an update. Brent?
Well, Tim, the San Francisco 49ers are trying to come from behind against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Montana's first scoring pass of the season, and it was 1 yard to John Frank. They're in the fourth quarter, and they still trail the Steelers by 10. Let's go back to Tim and Hank.
I want to know, Brent, how you got back from State College so quickly. That's not an easy traveling log, I'll tell you.
He must have had a humperdinck to get him someplace.
It's 3rd and 3 from the 34. 2 tight ends, David Hill, Damone Johnson. It's Johnson in motion. Dickerson falls, as does Everett. They tripped over each other.
Yeah, Everett tripped over Dickerson, number 29. It was a bootleg pattern where the back goes one way. Watch the bad mesh. Here it is. He fakes. Watch. He fakes to Dickerson. See, and watching the process. Watch the feet get tangled up, and both of them hit the deck.
Hatcher to punt it away. Gets a short kickoff. But it gets another Rams bounce, and it's going to roll inside the 15, and it'll be down just about at the 10. So Hatcher does the job and backs up Houston, and the Oilers will have it 1st and 10 at the 12. Coming up next week on CBS Sports, another college game, Georgia and Clemson. That's quite a rivalry, Hank. They go after each other down in the South. Clemson strong at home, though, in Death Valley.
Yeah, who do you like in this one? You're from that league.
I'll tell you what, I like Clemson. I think Clemson is strong. You can't ever count out Dooley and his ball club, and Tate is a pretty good running back. There's no question about that. What do you have, 4 touchdowns? But Clemson is awfully strong defensively and offensively.
You know, I kind of like Georgia.
Fridge has a brother down there. Danny Ford always has somebody in the package, I'll tell you. Moon is complete to Hill up across the 35. They'll mark it at the 36. He was working on Mickey Sutton, second-year player out of Montana.
Mickey Sutton was back there very deep that time. He almost had a foot in the tunnel.
26-yard gain in the tunnel.
Yes, he was back there very deep. You got to throw in front on that kind of a pattern. Look at him. Throws the ball right on the money. Tries to turn upfield. He finally makes the tackle. But that's the big thing. You know, they're going to let you throw some balls in front, but you're never going to get anything cheap. And in the process, you're going to pay for the catch. You better have a tourniquet ready because they like to make you bleed.
1st and 10 from the 36. Again, they try the reverse. This time, Pinkett keeps it. Fake reverse.
They fooled themselves that time. The first time they tried it, and it was there. This time, had they give it to him, it was there again, because Wilshire, 54, did exactly the same thing, but this time he fell down, and as a result, nobody would have been on the outside.
Sean Miller stayed at home, made a nice play. The defensive end at a Utah State in his 4th year. Wilcher's also active, isn't he?
Oh, he's a great linebacker, and especially when he's blitzing and rushing the passer. Tampa 41-3, incredible.
Cincinnati's jumped back on top of Indianapolis. 2nd and 5. Going for the fade pattern. Did he get it? No. Ernest Gibbons almost made a spectacular catch. Watch this. Leroy Irvin is in his hip pocket, Coach.
Yep. Well, they're trying to run through the zone. And, of course, this time they're man for man. Look at, he runs right. Doesn't get much of a bump at all. Look at Irvin. He's right out there in front in good position. He sees him turn and look for the ball. He looks, too, but the ball is thrown a little bit out of his reach. He made a gallant effort to make that catch. But good coverage by Leroy Irvin.
They've gone to the wide receivers most of the day, but they have not had success. Most of the success has been the little short dumps out of the backfield of the running backs. 5 for 6. I'm not sure this read and gun or run and shoot has been successful.
No, and again, it'll take a little time with all these young players, and we talked about it several times during the course of this contest, but it's going to take some time to refine that offense.
3rd and 5. Moon has time and almost has it intercepted. The Rams go to that dime package, and they bring in 6 defensive backs, and it's tough to throw against.
It really is, and Nolan Cromwell, he's doing a terrific job. You talk about playing the quarterback's eyes and getting a good jump on the ball. He's knocked down 3 or 4 balls here in this game and made another great play. Number 21, Nolan Cromwell.
He's the defensive captain. 35 career interceptions, all-time Ram leader in interception return yards. Lee Johnson to punt it to number 80, Henry Ellard. Ellard will take it on the 17. Watch him scoot. Out to the 29-yard line, and that's where the Rams will have it, but there is a flag. Got 36 seconds remaining in the quarter. There is a flag. The play was made by Al Smith again, the rookie.
I tell you, he's a great prospect, that kid. He's playing all the way as an inside linebacker, covering on the kicks, and made a great open field tackle.
On the receiving team, 51. Illegal block below the waist, 15 yards. It'll be 1st down.
Penalty is against Norwood Van for the Rams, so they'll move them back. Coming up next on CBS Sports, the men's singles final of the U.S. Open Tennis Championships, live from Flushing Meadows, New York, so don't forget that. Stay with us. It'll be number 1 seed Ivan Lendl looking for his 3rd consecutive U.S. Open, and he'll be going against Mats Wilander. He loves that surface there. Coming up next on CBS Sports, going for 3 in a row, Lendl. And you say you're going out on a limb?
Yeah, I'm going to be clairvoyant and say I think he's going to win.
You're a beauty, I'll tell you that. 1st and 10 from the 17. And everyone's timeout. I don't think he feels comfortable back there with something. He looks confused.
He really does. He doesn't look nearly as confident today as he talked yesterday in our meeting, did he?
No, absolutely not.
But again, he did mention the fact that you know, this is a new system, and we're learning every day, and we're going to get better and better, but it's going to take us a little time. It's very obvious that it's going to take him more time. And again, I mentioned earlier in the show that he said that it's a good thing they started earlier, or else they never would have been able to put this kind of an attack in the offense. And I'm talking about Ernie Zambezi, who is, now there's Ernie on the right side, far right side, Dick Corey on his right.
I think it was interesting when we talked to John Robinson yesterday that he said Everett is not there yet, but potentially, if he can translate that into performance, look out, because he can be dominant.
Well, the nice thing about it is, while they're learning and getting better and better, they still have Eric Dickerson running the ball, and that's the glue that's going to keep them together, and that's what they like to do. That's the way they like to win. But if they can complement the passing and get better and better every week and get ready for the playoffs near the end of the season, that's going to be great.
You guys from Purdue, you stick together. Everett from Purdue, he comes in that long line of quarterbacks.
Well, he's not only
Lenny
Purdue.
Dawson, Bob Greasy, name a couple of those guys. Mark Herman, Mike Phipps.
Yeah, all those guys.
Campbell.
Yep, you're right. But again, along with it, you know, he's a Sigma Chi too. Not only from Purdue-skis, but he's from Sigma. He's a Sigma Chi.
Were you a Sigma Chi?
Yep.
Oh. How about his throwing motion? He comes that sidearm almost.
And I slipped you the grip, except you didn't go to college. You went to Maryland, right?
Oh, now easy. Easy. First and 10 from the 17. There's 30 period, and this is Dickerson. Good gain by Dickerson over that right side. Slashing runner takes it up to the 24-yard line is where they'll mark it.
Well, Minnesota came out of retirement 31-19 now. Look at this one. 24-24.
Philadelphia always plays the Redskins tough.
They're going to play a lot of teams tough. They're tough defensively, I'll tell you. And if Cunningham can make some good progress this year, they're going to be a good offensive team, too.
Hank and I will be in Philadelphia next week to watch New Orleans and the Eagles battle it out. That's the end of the third quarter here at the Astrodome in Houston. With a score 16-3 Rams. We pause now for a word from your local stations.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. Castrol, the motor oil engineered for today's smaller cars. And by the American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Time to put the hats on and buckle up the chin straps. We've got 15 minutes remaining in the ball game as we start the final period. 16-3 is our score. Both teams at times have looked lethargic. Other times they look pretty good. Mistakes have hurt both clubs. This is Dickerson. Bounces across the 28-yard line. He's got a Rams first down before Johnny Meads can stop him. Johnny Meads, the fourth-year pro out of Nicholls State.
You know, one thing I think the Rams, they want to run the ball and take as much time off the clock as they possibly can. They ran outside very well at the corners and linebackers earlier in the game, and they haven't done much of it since that time. I think they can go back to that. I think the corners are very good cover people, but I don't think they tackle nearly as well as they cover, and they ought to attack that area more. Talking about Allen, 29 and 24. Brown.
From the 29, another Ram first down. This is Dickerson on the right side. Nice cutback. He's got some room if he can get a block. Dickerson across the 40 to the 41-yard line.
Well, that's the play, but it wasn't executed nearly as well. It was only great running on a part of Dickerson. Look at this. They try to go outside with student body right. He gets the ball. Look at this. They're chasing. Look at backside. Bostic chasing on the play. He spins away. Look at the straight arm he gives Donaldson. Gets up the field. It stretches a no gain or a loss into a nice gain. Talking about the great running ability of Eric Dickerson, number 29.
Dickerson now has 135 yards, Hank. And again, I remind everybody that in opening day games, Dickerson has averaged 141 yards. This is Gooman to the 46-yard line, and the Rams are starting to bang it out.
I'm surprised he took the ball. He must have been surprised to get the football that time. Gooman, that's the first time he's had his hands on the ball all afternoon.
That Houston secondary is starting to get a workout. Keith Bostic and Jeff Donaldson had to come up to make the tackle, and when they start making the tackles in the secondary, you're in trouble, boys.
And I think the other thing, they have to make those corners tackle more, because they do not do that nearly as well. Talking about Allen and talking about Brown.
Kevin House flanks wide for the Rams. It's 2nd and 3 from the 47. Dickerson again. Great cut inside. First down, L.A.
See, that's an option run on the part of Dickerson. He runs at the tackle, and he can either run inside or outside of the offensive tackle. In this particular case, it's Pankey. Watch Pankey, 75, get off the ball. He slips and falls, and he runs inside on the play. It was just great running. Not much blocking at all at the point of attack. Lyles, number 93, made the play.
Third Ram first down in this drive. If Allen had been watching the eyes of the quarterback, he would have had an interception. The ball hit him in the hip. It was intended for Henry Ellard. Was not close to Ellard. It hit Patrick Allen, the defensive back.
Talk about surprise.
And frustration. Look at him.
I tell you one thing about this Houston team, you get the feeling that they're hanging in there tough and trying to make something happen. As I've said earlier, they're only 2 plays away from getting back in this ball game. I thought at first, the way things were going, they might collapse like the Mexican pesos, but they're going along pretty good.
Charles White in the ball game now. He gets the call, but he won't get any yardage. The Oilers run to the football. Jeff Donaldson, the safety, gets there first. So that'll bring up 3rd and 15, and you're right, Hank. This defense has turned into a rubber band defense. It'll stretch, it won't break, and all of a sudden the Ram drive, which looks so impressive, has been backed up.
You know, the other thing about it is a lot of times a young football team, they're so young, they're too young to get discouraged. They just keep playing, you know. You keep banging them on the head, they keep coming back like nothing happened. So you got to be careful.
LA's only 2 for 11 in third down conversions. 6 defensive backs now in for Houston. Everett throws. Intercepted. It was fumbled, but Allen picks it up. It was Keith Bostic that made the interception. He fumbled, and Allen picked it up. So the hometown folks now get a little bit encouraged.
Watch Bostic. Watch this now. Watch him. Right about the time he's getting ready to throw the ball, he gets hit. He doesn't have anything on it. Lyles was blitzing on the play, and he throws an interception, a bad ball. But here again, he had no chance because of the blitz coming. He threw the ball before he was ready set to throw it.
Crowd perks up a little bit. They want some action. 11:35 remaining in the ball game, and the Oilers trail 16-3. Determined. It's time to tighten the chin straps.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, they score a touchdown and get some points here. They'll all be singing "Love You Blue" again.
Look how big Steinkühler is. That is a big offensive line that Houston has.
And Steinkühler was the #1 draft choice from the University of Nebraska. Missed a year and a half with a knee injury. Had 2 scopes last year, so he's really playing with bad knees, but still that good to continue to play.
Moon with time has a receiver. It's Gibbons. He's in a Ram territory. Right now, let's go to New York. Here's Brent Musburger. Brent?
Tim, we have had 55 points scored in the Washington-Philadelphia game. Moments ago, it was Doug Williams to Art Monk. This is the touchdown play. 39 yards. It has the Redskins back in the lead, 31-24. Let's go back to Tim Brandt and the Humperdinck.
He's a Humperdinck, all right, Brent. He's my horse if he never wins another race. 1st and 10, a gain of 18 on that. Houston now into Ram territory. Rozier gets back to the line of scrimmage. He may have gotten a yard before Jim Collins took him down. Collins, the 6-year veteran out of Syracuse.
And he's a great player. He missed last year because of a shoulder injury, but he's playing right where he left off 2 years ago. Had a nice visit with him yesterday, and he said normally he dreaded going to training camp, but this year he loved it. Could hardly wait till it gets started after missing last year.
It'll be 2nd and 9 from the 42. Actually lost total feeling in there. His deltoids went dead. They turned to mush. Atrophy, did Collins. Moon has time, goes for it all. And it's overthrown. It was intended for Drew Hill.
Got to measure that one. It was out of the end zone almost. Mickey Sutton covering on the play. Watch him come off the ball. A lot of room. You don't even see the defensive back yet. It's hard to run by people when they're back there that deep. But in spite of it, he still ran right through the zone, right through the man. And had the ball been thrown perfectly, it would have been a catch and a touchdown.
They used to say that about Doug Williams in Tampa. He can throw the ball 80 yards. Unfortunately, his receiver was only 40 yards downfield.
That's right.
3rd and 9 from the 42. 6 defensive backs in for the Rams.
It's a good time for a trap. Nope.
They're coming. Moon's in trouble. Oh, and checked by Jeffries. Jeffries has the first down, the rookie out of NC State. Leroy Irvin made the saving tackle.
And the key was that he came back to make the catch. Watch him come off the ball. Irvin gives him a little shot in the smush there, trying to get down the field. But he runs a comeback pattern. And look at it, he's coming back. He comes back about 5 yards. While Sutton is still back there. It bounces. He uses the tipping drill, gets it on the way back down, and makes the catch.
Jeffries rated by most scouts as the top wide receiver in the draft last year. Big play for Houston. First down at the 30. 9:13 remaining in the ball game.
They got 1-on-1 on the left. Oh, they run the ball.
Rozier, half blockers. Inside the 10 to the 3-yard line. Mickey Sutton made the saving tackle for the Rams.
Rozier made a great run. Mickey Sutton, number 49, finally makes the play. But watch this run. Rozier starting on a draw, counter, breaks inside, back outside, runs right through a would-be tackler. Johnny Johnson comes over, and he misses the tackle, and he's finally tackled there by Mickey Sutton, number 49. Great running on the part of Rozier.
27-yard pickup. Mitch Daub comes into the ball game. 2 tight ends. The Oilers.
See if they run right over Steinkuhler over on the right side.
The Oilers load up.
Here they go, boys.
This is Pinkett. Back to the line of scrimmage. Not much more. Alvin Wright was there.
You know, I'm surprised, really, that Moon, you talk about the gun and shoot or whatever you call it. I think it really is more like recess football than anything else. But anyway, it's a semi-roll. He really hasn't rolled very much by design this afternoon. Most of the stuff he's done has been from the pocket. So it's hard to understand why, if they went into the game with anticipation using more of it, they haven't used it as much as they thought.
Ball on the 3. It's second down. Oilers. Time is a factor. Moon to throw. They didn't throw to the tight end the entire preseason. Here, Jamie Williams just slides free.
Yes, sir, and it looked like Mel Owens had him man for man. It was a play-action fake. Look at this. He fakes it well, and he comes all, and you know, Meisner, number 69, really got good penetration, and it's a wonder that Moon got rid of the ball as well as he did.
Tony Zendejas cuts the lead to 6.
Watch Mel Owens now, number 58. Corner is blitzing on the play. Johnson tries to tie him up, but there's Owens chasing him on the play. It's too late. Wide open. Touchdown.
Use the official as a pick and just slid free. The lead is down to 6 with 7:28 remaining. Things have perked up drastically here at the Astrodome. The fans are in it. They're playing the song, "We're the Houston Oilers." The game summer, you see the story there. 3 turnovers by the Oilers, but they have come on strong here, Hank, in the 4th period.
Yeah, they're so young, they don't know enough to know that they've been in trouble. And as I mentioned earlier, they were only 2 plays away from being back in a contest, and now they're just 1 play from being ahead.
This is Charlie White. Gets back to the 22, and now it's up to the Houston defense. Rams had a good drive going in the last series, or their last possession rather, but then they were stymied by penalties. So John Robinson wants to get some mistake-free football going and get his young quarterback Everett in rhythm. Hank, let's go back and look at that touchdown.
Watch the play action. It's a play action fake, and Mel Owens, number 58, is involved in covering the tight end. Jamie Williams, there he is. He blocks him like it's going to be a run and then breaks to the inside. Owens cannot cover him. Touchdown, Houston Oilers. And Jamie did a great job of acting on that play.
Dickerson gains 2. The fans are back in it.
One thing when you're playing away from home, and especially the first game of the season, one thing that you want to do is get the fans out of the game as soon as you possibly can. Hope they're not going to be in the game late in the 4th quarter, but that's not what the case is here. These fans are very much in this contest. Be a lot of excitement in the next 6 minutes and 46 seconds.
You saw the numbers there. The touchdown was by Williams, but the big play was by Haywood Jeffries, who got a crucial first down in the drive. 2nd and 8. Everett to throw. Under pressure, throws it away.
I'll tell you one thing, White was the only guy open on that pattern. He threw it to the right guy.
Robert Lyles is starting to cheerlead. He wants the crowd to get back in it. Look at John Robinson. You think he's not concerned?
Oh, he's looking for the gas pipe. I tell you, he's concerned.
Goodman comes out of the ball game. The Rams load up with receivers. It's 3rd and 8. The lone setback is Dickerson. The give inside of Dickerson. He's tripped up. He won't get it. They've got to punt it back to Houston. Richard Byrd was the guy that got the hand on Eric Dickerson, 3rd-year pro out of Southern Mississippi.
The other thing you have to be concerned about, I'm talking about the Rams, is they've come close to blocking some kicks here. They got to be careful they don't get one blocked right in this situation.
Dale Hatcher to kick it to Curtis Duncan, number 80. High spiraling punt will take Duncan back inside the 25 at the 23. There's a flag. Duncan lost his footing on second base.
Well, he was doing a tap dance back there. I think you got to make a decision, right or wrong. You can't dance around. By the time you get through dancing, why, they're going to be all over you just like they were in the last play. He had a lot of movement, but didn't go anyplace.
And a penalties against Houston. I said second base. It was the pitcher's mound. What a punt by Dale Hatcher, 50 yards.
He's got a leg. There's no question about that. If he just kicks like he's capable of kicking, and I think he'll have a great year.
Watch him on the pitcher's mound, Hank.
Yeah, watch this. Little Bojangles there. Look at this. Whoop. He stumbled a little bit on the pitcher's mound there. By the time he got going, it was all over. School was out.
1st and 10 from the 16. The situation is this. The Oilers trail by 6. They've got 5:48 remaining in the ball game. Move. Complete to Hill, and he tripped on third base. Leroy Irvin made the tackle.
Look at, he's already turned into the inside. As a result, there's no way in the world he can cover that pattern. Look at, he's off 4 yards, 5 yards. And he has to come in and make the play. But again, that kind of a play, you have to play that way. The one thing you don't want to do is give him a cheap big play.
This is a terrible, terrible field. Players don't like to play here on either team.
This isn't synthetic turf. It's fuzzy cement.
2nd and 3 from the 23. Rozier bangs his way out close to a first down. It'll be marked at the 27-yard line. Larry Kell made the tackle. There's the first final of the season. Boomer Esiason leading Cincinnati past the Colts 23-21. The clock here at the Astrodome continues to roll. It's 4:40 remaining in the ball game. Moon, quick out. It's a gain of 5. Jerry Gray was the defender. And look at this. Now, I specifically asked Givens yesterday if he ever talks to defensive backs. He said, no, we're all pros. We never talk. Feelings are high now.
Yeah, he was giving him a little shot there. The ball was thrown high. He came up. Gray did. Made the tackle. But Moon read the defense well. They line up in a bump and run, and then it came off the ball, and as a result, they made the adjustment. That's one time they read it perfectly.
2nd and 4. We're under 4 minutes. Houston trails by 6. Rozier. First down, Oilers.
That's the draw play again by Rozier, number 30. A ground level shot. We see Kevin Green blitzing on the outside, and specifically he goes inside and runs through a would-be tackler and finally makes about 3 extra yards before Johnny Johnson and Williams make the tackle.
Hank, we talked about the field. Now, Rozier is not hurt. His face went into the dirt at second base. He got sand in his eyes. 1st and 10. Moon has pressure. Throws to Gibbons. He's got room. He needs a block.
He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone.
Yard touchdown run by Givens. Zendejas adds the extra point, and the Oilers have taken the lead.
Now watch Givens coming across the middle, and he's got such great speed. Look at him take off and run. There's going to be a big scorch mark in the big middle of that field. With that speed that he has, there's no way in the world you're going to catch him once he has running room. Here it is again. Reed, number 98, or 93, blitzing on the play. Jerry Gray slips a little bit, trying to cover him. Kelm, number 52, trying to chase him. No way in the world they're going to catch him. He goes all the way for the touchdown. Here's Givens.
5 plays, 84 yards. The Oilers lead. The crowd has come to life at the Astrodome. Houston leads 17-16 with 2:53 remaining. The Oilers have just kicked off. Touchback, and the Rams bring it out to the 20. So the situation is this. We've got 2 minutes and 53 seconds remaining in the ball game. The Rams trail by 1. The ball is on the 20. Everett, 8 for 23, 107 yards today. Ron Brown, his favorite receiver, out of the ball game with a hit pointer. They've got 2 timeouts remaining. Incomplete. There's a flag.
Now, Tim, this is one time of the ball game where you would really like to have a proven, experienced quarterback handling your 2-minute offense. This kid has got a great arm, but he hasn't had the repetitions.
5 yards.
Under these conditions,
No first down.
And the timing of the execution of the pattern so far in the ball game have not been good. This is a very crucial, critical time, and this is where you'd be wishing and hoping that you'd have that experience that you need in a 2-minute offense.
Good point, Hank. Now, the inexperience also goes across to the other side of the line of scrimmage, where the Houston Oilers have a very young defense, and they were just penalized for having 12 men on the field. So it's a gain of 5. It'll still be first down and 5 to go for the Rams. Dickerson. Fumble. Houston ball.
Here's what they like to do best. Student body left. They knocked out the linebacker, and he comes to the inside, and it looked like the ball was knocked loose from the backside by Ray Childress.
We told
79.
Excuse me, Hank. We told you at the beginning of the ball game that Eric Dickerson will put the ball on the ground. He fumbles the ball once in every 33 carries, and when you compare him to the great running backs of all time, that's one of the worst percentages.
But I think, again, in all fairness to Dickerson, that time he got hit from the backside, Tim, and that's how the ball was knocked loose.
First down, Oilers. Rozier inside the 30 to the 26-yard line. We've got to fight. We've got flags, and that's not smart. The last thing anybody needs now is a penalty. If you're just joining us, we've got some football game here in the Astrodome in Houston, Texas.
The Rams have had something happen to them that they didn't want to have happen, and that is to get the fans involved in this game in the last part of the contest. They're totally involved, and so are the Houston Oilers, and it's going to be tough from here on in.
There was very little action in the first half. Mike Lansford kicked 2 field goals for the Rams. They jumped out on front 6-0. It was an interception returned by Kevin Green for the Rams. But now here in the fourth period, Moon has gotten hot, and the upstart Houston Oilers have jumped back in it. They lead 17-16 with 2:31 to go.
And I think this has been a great illustration how important it is to have speed. When you got speed, anything can happen. Rams have had 2 turnovers this half.
Ernest Givens and got into a little Donnybrook down on the sidelines there. I thought it was Irvin. But the penalty goes against the Rams. It was Jerry Gray, number 25, who got into the fight with Givens. And it cost the Rams.
Timmy, this would be a great time for a play-action pass on 1st and 10 because they're all going to flop the ears back and expect him to run the football. A play action would be very, very effective. It could be a big play. Let's see what they call. Look, look like they're going to do something left the way they're lined up. Here they go.
Rozier on 1st down. Gets the corner. And takes it to the 3-yard line. Hank, not only have the Rams had 2 turnovers this half, but in the game they've had 8 penalties, 72 yards.
Yeah, they have to be very concerned about what happened. And of course, instead of getting 7 points on those field goals, he just got 3. That always comes back to haunt you.
We've got the 2-minute warning. The crowd is alive. The Oilers have a 1-point lead, and we'll be back. We've got a surprise at the Astrodome with 2 minutes left. Houston leads by 1. Now the Oilers have 3 timeouts left. The Rams have 2. And Hank, as we come down the end here, I'm a little bit surprised. The Oilers came back like they were the veterans, and they're taking it to the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, that's right. But I think, again, it's typical of what happens with a young team. They don't know any better. They're not frightened by anything. They just keep coming back and playing, and that's what they did. Plus the fact that anytime you have great speed, it's tough. It's tough to defense speed, and if you give them a crack, it could be all over.
All right, it's 1st and goal inside the 5 for the Oilers. Jerry Glanville right now, the head coach of the Oilers, is in charge here at the Astrodome. The obvious concern on John Robinson's face. No gain inside as they close things down. The Rams go to a goal line defense, and Houston loads up. 1:44 remaining in the ball game. Again, I remind you that the Oilers have 3 timeouts. The Rams have 2. Second and goal from the 2. Rozier. He may lose a couple. Mel Owens made the tackle. Here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, Tim Brand and Hank Stram with you. We've got 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining in the ball game. And the young Houston Oilers have come firing back at the Los Angeles Rams. They lead 17-16. They threw a touchdown pass from Moon to Jamie Williams. That's the touchdown here in the 4th period that put Houston on top. Now the Oilers have 3 timeouts. The Rams have 1. Rams have 2 turnovers this half. They have been costly. It was Eric Dickerson that put the ball on the ground to give the Rams this opportunity, or to give the Oilers rather this opportunity here. They're knocking on the door once again. This is the last touchdown for the Oilers. Moon to Givens.
And watch the speed. He's got 4.35 speed, and look at him run away from everybody. There's a block there on Johnny Johnson, but it doesn't make any difference. He still would have made the touchdown. No way in the world Johnson would have covered him. Now he's in there doing a hokey pokey, or whatever you call it.
It is 3rd and 6 from the 6. Rozier's not going to make it. He's tagged by Vince Newsom.
And Larry Kell, number 52. Boy, it looked like he came in there and gave him a shot.
The fans want him to go for it. Instead, Tony Zendejas will come in to kick the field goal. Tony Zendejas, his legs stay strong because Lee Johnson does the kickoffs. And he hits it. So the Houston Oilers now take a 20-16 lead with 1 minute left, Hank.
You already have to admire this young football team. There's Johnny Robinson on the sideline, justifiably very concerned and disappointed. But you really have to give this Houston team a lot of credit.
John Robinson was concerned coming into this ball game, and this is the reason why. The Oilers won 4 of their last 7 games and finished with 2 straight wins, both here at the Astrodome. They've also won 2 straight openers, and they'd like to make it 3.
You know, the thing that's really hurt the Rams in the second half, Everett was only 3 of 12 in the second half.
Lee Johnson gets a boomer off, and it won't be returned. So Los Angeles now has 1 minute and 1 second to take it 80 yards. And all the pressure is on that man, Jim Everett. No timeouts remaining for the Rams. They have to go to their 2-minute offense. I should say hurry up offense with a minute left. But the key factor is, and he knows it, no timeouts. On first down across the middle, and it's complete to Henry Ellard. First down Rams.
I tell you, he got rid of that well. He read it well and threw it falling away, but it got it right on the money.
Clock continues to move. We're at 45 seconds. With time to Dickerson. Dickerson can't hold on. Keith Bostic just shook him loose. Big number 25. Bostic, a 5th-year pro out of Michigan. He's 6'1", 223. Hank, that's a big defensive back.
He sure is, and he's tough. Talking to Tommy Bettis, he said he's a terrific. Reminded him an awful lot of our Jim Kearney, who had at Kansas City.
In college, Everett was a curator of clocks, but here he's working against the odds. 35 seconds remain. Intercepted by Bostic. The Oilers will win it.
Here it is. Doesn't have much pressure that time. And Bostic makes the interception, and that's it.
You don't think they're happy? Look at Jerry Glanville.
Happiness is in the air. There's no question about that. Look at Jerry Glanville on the sideline.
Jerry told us yesterday that he thinks he has a fine football team in Houston. He said he was sorry that they were opening against a team as good as the Rams, but they've come through. That'll do it. They don't have to run another play, and Jerry Glanville has won his opener. And Warren Moon may have come of age in that fourth period.
Well, he did. The great thing about it is that, you know, as I mentioned earlier, they hung in there tough. They made a lot of mistakes, misread, but they hung in there tough, and I think it goes back. When they got speed, you got ability, you got to keep throwing up enough stuff against the wall and hope that something's going to stick, and it's stuck in this second half.
Both teams made mistakes in this ball game, but the Oilers made theirs in the first half. The Rams made critical mistakes in the second half. 2016 the final. We'll be back.